Matthew 13:48. Hein, hote, eplerothe, anabibasantes, epiton agialon, kai kathisantes, sun elexon ta kala eis ange, ta de sapra exo ebalon. Remember here, Jesus is in the midst of the parable about the dragnet, and this verse begins with a relative pronoun which refers back to the dragnet, which, when it was filled, and then we have a couple of participles that I'm going to translate as participles of attendant circumstance along with this main indicative verb. So it's just telling us stuff the fishermen are doing here. We might have to provide the subject, the fisherman. It is interesting, in the remainder of the verse, we have two hapaxes, two words that occur only one time in the New Testament. Anabibazo, to draw up, and ta angas, a vessel, a container, perhaps best understood in this context as baskets. So referring here back to the dragnet, which when it was filled, they drew up upon the shore and sat down and gathered in the good, implied the good fish, into vessels, into containers, into baskets, but the bad, the worthless, implied fish, they threw out. That ebalon, that's just a second aorist active indicative. It's a third person plural from the verb balo. Notice the change in spelling. We lost a lambda. They threw out. They threw the worthless or bad fish out. Now you might be wondering what makes the fish worthless or bad. We can speculate. The text doesn't actually say. But probably the primary thing that I imagine in the first century context when Jesus actually told this parable, it probably related to the fish that were prohibited by Jewish dietary law. We know that there were catfish in the Sea of Galilee in the first century, and catfish did not have scales, so they would have been prohibited by Jewish dietary law. How do we know that there were catfish? Well, interestingly, Josephus mentions this fact, and he speculates, wrongly, but he speculates that there's some underground connection between the Nile River and the Sea of Galilee because they both have catfish.